G'day everyone. In this tutorial we'll be talking about how to do cinematics and dialogue quite easy. So this right here is an example of one. All it does is shows up when you return back to the game. And another one I'm going to show you over here is another small little cinematic. It uses a system called Dialogic. What it did is it switched the camera over and it's made the avatar of this NPC begin to animate and also play an animation. So his mouth's moving, for instance, when he talks. And then we can choose what camera angle plays and when, and the text that comes up on the screen. And yeah, it's pretty useful. It's pretty powerful as well, because there's a lot you can do with it. But anyway, let's get into it. And if you've never seen this game before, this is Unaccessible. It's a game made by me, so if you want to support the channel, make sure to subscribe or wishlist, check out Unaccessible. So we're just going to start in a scene that I've already created. So it's basically just nothing too fancy. It's just a little scene with some stuff in it so we can see what's going on. Made some little interesting thing. I don't know, get your imagination running kind of thing. But then we need to add a player. So in the player script, I've already typed out a bit of it. It's all just very simple player script, but there it is if you need to pause the video and copy that over, because we're not going to really do much on player today. It's more about how we can get the player to interact with the world and get the world to, yeah, do some sort of cinematic. So we'll do something fun with this, do something nice. So what we need to do is probably create an NPC. I'll get him to stand about here. And then we're going to walk up to the NPC, and then we're going to have a couple different camera angles, a couple different dialogue things, and then it's going to plop us back in the game. Cool. So I'm just importing a character that I know has a whole bunch of animations in it, which will make this whole process a lot easier. I suggest you do the same. Pretty much anywhere you're at with your project, this will work, right?
S stands
Yeah,
for
let's go. Oh,
sacrifice.
it's
No
done.
gain without.
We can stop killing time. Our import's done. So that was a 95 megabyte model. That actually takes quite a while to import, but once it's imported, it's pretty cool. So I probably won't share this one because this is sort of one that I've made, and I use it in all of my games, so I'm quite happy with this one. Now here's a good time to pause it and go and download Dialogic. Now Dialogic, hopefully I've typed that out right. Is this working? Dialogic is a fantastic dialogue. Oh my god. Cool. So obviously I've forgotten you actually have to go to the website to download it, but that's easy. I'll show you how to do that. And just a note, I'm not doing this tutorial because Unaccessible's on the page for Dialogic, although I do very much appreciate it. Dialogic is one of the best plugins I've ever used. So we'll just go to download Dialogic, and then it's going to come up with a GitHub page, and then we want the full source code. Cool. Once that's downloaded, we're going to open up our folder in the file manager. Easiest way to do it. And then we're going to wait till this is done. We're going to open it up, and we're just going to drag this add-ons folder over into our Godot project folder. Now that that's done, we'll just go back over into our project. It's going to load everything in, and we're going to need to restart this. So first, before we do that, we go project settings, go to plugins, and then enable Dialogic. Alright, we call that a forced restart, that's fine. An unexpected restart, that's fine. Beautiful, now that we're back in, we enable that again. It actually worked this time. And as you'll notice, we've got this button up the top that says Dialogic. But before we mess around with any of that, I'm just going to fix up this player a little bit with this player skin little animation. So what I do here is I go editable children, and then we get the animation player, and then we've got all of the animations inside that animation player. There we go, like that. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to create a little script that lets us put in this animation name inside of Dialogic, so we can very quickly just like sort of cue things to happen animation wise with our 3D characters. So Dialogic I think was probably made for 2D, but the way that the dialogue system works is incredible, and I'll show you one really cool trick with it, where actually I'll click it now. Okay, we'll do that later. Yeah, let's do that later. So we're going to go back to our player code. We're going to bring in all of the relevant stuff that we need. So we get the animation player. And then we're going to just create a function called play animation. And then we're going to have the anim name. Make it a string. Are we capital S in this? Yeah, we are. Capital S. We're going to void that. And then awesome, we're going to go animation player dot play. And then we go the anim name. So now that we've got that, that's great. We're going to need to run basically another function soon. I'll show you why. Because another thing we need to do is create a global script or an auto load to get this whole thing to work. So back over here, I mean, if I run that now, can I see myself? Do I have a shadow though? Yeah, I do. I've got a shadow and I can see myself. So that's fine for now. I mean, we're not even really going to see ourselves walk. We're going to be more like in the actual cutscene animation, standing still anyway, so I won't really worry about that or how to set up a blend tree for the movement. That'd be a completely different video entirely, but you call it an animation tree and you would go from there, actually adding in your animations. Is this how you do it? New animation name, not an animation tree. Is it a blend tree? Yeah, it's an animation tree. Okay, well, anyway, you do it through an animation tree and you choose all the different directions that you run and you blend it all together if that's what you're into. But we are not going to do that now. So we've got our guy or our woman, whatever that is. Let's actually decide right now. So you can be a chick. Actually, you can be a dude and we'll go talk to a chick. How's that? So then the next thing is we need to set up our, what do you call it? Our NPC. So I'm going to create a new. Do we want this to be a character? Probably not because it's not really moving around. So we're just going to drag our mesh directly in there. We could actually make this a static body because it's not, don't really feel right about that. We're going to create a static body because it's not moving. Collision shape, and then we'll add in just something to stop us from walking into it. Something simple. So we're going to call this one NPC person. NPC person. That won't be the name that we give it in the scene, but that's what we're going to call it as a scene. So that's fine. Now we're going to need to create a script for that as well. So going to scripts, create this. Awesome. Now I'm just going to clean this up a little bit. We're going to edit to build children this. I'll probably find idle, just like a regular idle. Does that loop? Idle, what is that? Joy? Idle nervous? That's pretty funny. So we'll play that. It's already looping. If you're having issues looping, don't at me. That's something entirely different. NPC person, so bam, we do that. And now what we're going to do is create an area. So I think we all know that there has to be an area here. So we're just going to make that. And we're going to make that only interact with the player. So do we have a player layer yet? Player layer? No, so we'll do it on 2. So actually that doesn't work like that. So we do it on 2. We don't actually need to have it on a layer. So over on player, we're going to change the player's layer, collision layer, over to 2. And we're going to name them. Y'all know I like to do this. So we've got the world and we've got the player. And now if we come back over here, so we don't need one for the NPC because it's basically just, it's not really anything. So I'm just going to group these up. Just so this doesn't look so gross on the left here while we work on it. Geom, I call this world geom usually. So we've got a player, and then we're going to need to find our NPC person. We're going to drag that in. we're going to move them over here. So we run that, we'll be able to walk up to the person. We won't be able to do anything. Oh yeah, we said we were going to make it a chick, eh? So there we go. I'm just going to turn off that mesh. It's a really stupid way to do male female. The way that I did it with a separate mesh. Really, you should be using blend shapes, and I think at some point I will be making a video about blend shapes because I think they're amazing. Actually, I'm not using them with this character here. I've got them on an updated version of the character that I used for Unaccessible, but this was for DJ Simulator, I believe. So we've got this set up. So we looked at the data. I'm just going to run this and make sure that this is all functioning like normal. So we walk up. Okay, we're not functioning like normal. Does the player actually have a collision? It does have a collision. It's told not to interact with something then, I'm guessing. Yeah, so we're not interacting with mask. We're not interacting with one. So that was my fault. That was something that I set up for some other reason. Speaking of, while we're at it, we may as well grab all these CSG boxes and turn on their collision. And turn on, I guess that's because of the Taurus. Yeah, use collision. The Taurus doesn't need collision. Look at that. How cool is that? Alright, so we're going to have a look now. Yep. Bumping into stuff, bumping into them. Oh, and then when we walk here, we're going to activate a cutscene. So now we're going to set that cutscene up a little bit more. So we're going to create a node here, just as a group kind of thing, called cinematic cameras. And then I'm going to add a camera in, and we're going to, yeah, we're just going to give this a new name first, cinematic cam, and then we're going to add a script to it. So hopefully that went in the right folder. Probably not. Yeah, it's in scenes. Ugh. How pedantic I am about that. So cinematic cam. Now the first thing we need to do is just on ready. We'll class name this cinematic cam, and then we'll go func ready, and then we're going to add to group cinematic cams. Cool. So that's just part of our cinematic cams. Now we haven't done any crazy effects because what I usually like to do with my cinematic cams is just kind of make them sway a little bit, but we'll get into that later. So I'm going to switch the two viewports on so we can actually see what we're doing with this camera. I'm going to position it there by holding Control Alt and hitting M, and it moves whatever's selected to that position, the orientation of the camera. So we'll start with this angle here because we're going to be walking up, kind of like that. Although what I like to also do is have an establishment shot for my people in the crowd that get it, right? So I'm going to do bang, and then we're going to have like this, except we're going to do it from like here. Do some abstract stuff, I don't know. So we're making cinema right now, you know. Look at that. Yeah, that'll do. Alright. And then we'll get another one. Actually, that first one, we're going to move to this side. No, we're not. It's going to be confusing to follow it otherwise. Yeah, so there we go. We're moving up like that. Moving on up. Nothing can stop me. And then we can get another one from straight down. We'll get like some cool effect like that. Yep, like that. And then on our NPC, where's our NPC person? So we need to give him a name. Let's call him let's call her, uh, what is this? The Stonehenge NPC, scared. We'll call it NPC scared. That'll be the name. So in the group, that's what it'll be called. And that's the way that we're going to find it. So with our NPC person as well, we're going to need to add that little bit of code to play the animation as well that we created for the player earlier. And before we do that, we need to import the animation. Sweet. And then what I want to do is I want to actually create a camera for this NPC, and I'm going to put it right in her face. And we're going to call this the Selfie Cam, essentially. So this is going to be the camera that the dialogue comes up under, because really we want the dialogue to only come up when we're facing the person that's speaking, right? So it probably makes sense to go there. Let's hit the button and see what that's like. Yeah, that's pretty good. You imagine that with the text underneath it. Probably zoom out a little bit maybe, so it looks a little bit better. Pull it down a little bit, get rid of the headroom. Bring it in a little bit, get rid of the crutch. We don't really want that featured on screen, do we? Well, not right now anyway. Not in this game. Maybe in the future. Well, it's Godot, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna call this one Selfie Cam. I was gonna continue with that, but I don't think I should. So Selfie Cam. Now we're gonna make another function called set Selfie Cam. And we're going to go selfiecam.set current true, and then we double check to make sure that that's how you do it, and it is. That's the setter for current. So we're going to do that. Now we're also going to need this one in the player. Now there's probably some optimization we could do here for this, but at this point I want to keep these two separate. So I'm going to move this around to here. We're going to set it up kind of the same. It's not really going to be the same because that was on the wrong side. We got our player facing the wrong way. Why is it on the piss? So this and that and 180 and zoom it in. That's kind of funny. I like that. So we could probably add a texture to these characters, but I'm not really going to do that right now. Probably make this look a whole lot better though. Now, what we have to do, we've got our selfie cam, code. That's right, the selfie cam code doesn't work just yet. But there we go. So we've got the NPC, we've got the selfies, cams, and then we've got the thingamabob. So next we have to set up a auto load. And I'm going to do this now before we get into the Dialogic stuff, which we're going to do in just 1 second. Oh, where is this? What am I doing? Globals. And we're going to call this GameManager. Cool, and we don't put that in there, we put it in here. Just kidding. GameManager, bam. And then we're going to open that up. And the way that Dialogic works with its call function is it works with the auto load. So that's why we had to create the auto load. So we're going to create a new timeline. Now I like to create a new folder called Dialogic stuff. If you feel in PG, we'll call it what do you call this? Alter. We'll call it alter 1. Alter 1. Now we need to create 2 characters. We're going to create player, and we're going to create what is this person's name? I forget. NPC scared. Why don't we call it NPC alter? Yeah, that'll work. Cool. So Back over to here in Dialogic. Player, nicknames, yep, style. Now we need to create a style as well. And how do we do that? That's in this one, styles. So pre-made style. Let's just go with this one here because we don't need any of the I don't know really how this one's gonna work. Actually, how will that work? Bubble text. No, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna use the easy one for now. So we call this style 1. And we're gonna use this basically for everything. And we're just gonna keep it default for now. I'm gonna go back over to this here. And we're going to create another character. Call it NPC alter. And now NPC alter is scared. Oh, you can't see that. Scared woman. Scared lady. Scared lady. I'm gonna make her a scaredy cat color. What's that? Like kind of like a little bit alarmed. I don't know. Nickname is scaredy cat. Not that that really means anything here, but we just need it to know. We need the system to know how we feel about her. We don't even know anything about her, I suppose. In styles, what is this? So I think styles is fine. We're going to do everything the other way. So variables, we don't need that for now. Settings, we'll come back to this. But basically, we just need to create a timeline. So this is the real power of Dialogic. And if you prefer to do this with text, you can. But I usually don't like visual coding. In fact, I loathe it. But as far as doing something like this goes, it actually makes a lot of sense to do it in a flowchart way. So the first thing we want to do, let's think about this, is we've got 3 cinematic cameras. We've got the side shot, we've got the top shot, and then we've got the ultra top shot. And then we've got the selfie cam. So cinematic cam 1, I'm going to put the 1 in there, 1, 2, and 3. We'll call it cine cam, so we don't need to do as much typing. How about that? Cine cam 2. Cam 3. And just for good luck, we'll do one more. So we're going to hit Control D. And then we're going to hit this one. Bam. Cinecam 4. Cool. So now that we've got that, we're going to go back over to Dialogic, and then we're going to start actually building our timeline. No, we're not. One thing first. Before that is we need to go into main scene, and then on ready, don't worry about that. We need to get Dialogic to actually start that scene. Dialogic, I can't type, dot, play timeline, I believe it is. Start timeline, there we go. So the name of this was, what was it, Alter 1? We just need to make sure that the casing is right. I don't know if it is. Okay, so it's underscore. That would have messed up. So now if we just put text in there, we just click it, and then we say player, and we say, whoa, are you okay? No, wait, we'll start it the other way. We'll go NPC alter the scared lady. Whoa, who are you? And then player goes, whoa, are you okay? So we're gonna run this, and we're gonna see what that looks like. Immediately, bam, whoa, who are you? Whoa, are you okay? Maybe not 2 whoas. Are you okay? Question mark, just like that. Yeah, that'll do. So I started to go into a little zone there where I was trying to think of like the best thing to put, but it really doesn't matter. You looks crazy. Question mark. He looks crazy. I'm not crazy. I'm just scared. Then we can go, so Control D as well. Scared of what? Question mark. Okay. Scared of what's behind you. No, okay, we're not gonna go that far. Lots of things. Dot dot dot. This thing. That thing. I'm doing this on purpose. We need a lot of camera angles. That thing. Dot dot dot. Everything. And then we say, you're weird. Can I help? And then that's it. That's all of our dialogue that we're going to do. So I could run that now, but it doesn't matter. What we're going to do is we're going to test it by smashing this. So where is it? We in the main scene? We've got the world geometry. Let me see, alter. No. Oh, right. We've got the area on the actual player. Now that one's going to be an interesting thing to achieve, because if the area is on the player, then it's not in the scene. So I'm just going to delete this area real quick, because should it be on the NPC? Should it be on the scene? You know what? Screw it. For simplicity's sake, we'll do it on the player. I mean on the the NPC. That's actually pretty interesting. So we're going to call this the convo area. What I call out back of my house when people are around. Okay, so which one did we want? We want ready. Yeah, we want ready. So on ready, we need to, no, not on ready. First we have to do this. It's masked, yep. So we go to the area. We go to area entered. Bang. And then we put the dialogic function in there. I'm just thinking this is going to be a bit of an interesting one. We're going to go back over to the player, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go class name player. So make sure the whole game understands that what the player is. And then we go area. If area is player, then start the timeline. So if area is area 3D, if area dot, no. Oh, it's area entered. Okay, so hold on. We did the wrong one. And I always do this. So area entered isn't going to work for you because we're actually trying to detect a body. So what we want to do is body entered. And if you ever have issues not detecting, it's either that or it's the collision stuff. Okay, if area is player, how do we do this? I forget. Right, we just got to switch that over to body. I really got to start reading the actual debug text a bit better. This is going to break because it's running right now. I'm making some pretty big changes. So game starts. This chick is freaking out. We run over here. Bam. Our conversation starts. But now you see we can look around and lots of other things. And we don't want that. And I'm going to get through that conversation. Cool. Just to make sure there's no glitches. Beautiful. And every time we come up, it's going to play the same thing. So it's going to restart as well. So the one thing we've got to do is we've got to lock down the player movement while it's in a conversation. So we're going to go var is in convo. Let's call it can move. That's usually what I go for. Can move equals true by default. And then we're probably going to need to go to the physics process, all of this, if can move, if not can move, return. That's probably the easier way to do it. Get rid of all of that. If not can move, return. Event, if not can move, return. So if we run that again, nothing's going to happen, right? Because we haven't actually set it. So we need to actually connect to the signals of Dialogic. I'll never spell this right the first time ever. So which one do we want to look for? I think so it's when we start the timeline. Start timeline. No. It's once that has started. Timeline started. There we go. So timeline started. We want to connect to, yes, timeline started dot connect. And we're going to go func, do a little lambda function. We'll just go can move. Lambda? Pretty sure that's what you call that. Can move equals false. So that's once it started. And now we need to go timeline ended. Line ended. Dot connect. Can move equals true. Now if we go back again, one of the big issues we're going to have now is once we finish the conversation, it's probably going to restart it, especially if we're quite far in. Alright, here we go. Here's our first glitch. So it keeps moving. So if not can move, and what is it? It's our velocity input direction. Yeah, so input direction. Oh, it's just going to be on the move and slide. We don't even really need that, I think. Nah, because that's actually going to mess around. Right, well, I suppose all we got to do is just copy this here. And that should just work. We'll find out. Like I said, one of the biggest issues is going to be like restarting the timeline as soon as it's finished. Yep. So we're inside it. Yeah, and then we can walk out because we don't do anything on timeline ended. So another thing we want to do there with the NPC person is instead of starting this, we're going to make a can not interact. Let's say can cinematic equals true. So can cinematic. Oh func. What am I doing? Var. If body is player and can cinematic, because can cinematic equals false. And then once the timeline has ended, which we're going to get from func ready, then we go dialogic dot timeline ended dot connect. Then we go func can cinematic equals true. No, it's probably going to be timer related, isn't it? So we're going to go make a timer. We're going to call this cinematic cooldown timer. And that's going to start. So on timeline started, we're actually going to can cinematic equals false. So it won't happen twice. There won't be any double ups. And then on timeline ended, we're going to go cinematic cooldown timer dot start. And then on the cinematic cooldown timer, we're going to make sure it's one shot. And we're going to change this to 10 seconds. Just for now, so I can show you how it works. And then we're going to go to the timeout signal and then just make can cinematic true. So if we run that again, there should be a 10-second delay between when the cinematic finishes and when we can actually ping the cinematic again. So if I walk around, we're not going to get a cinematic. And that's cool. So this isn't going to fire off again every time we walk through it. It's just going to wait until a cinematic is done. And it's not going to let you start another one for another 10 seconds. Inside this character anyway. Actually, that's going to do it for all characters. So you're going to need to adapt this system specifically for that. Yeah, that's actually a good point. Well, anyway, I mean, this is going to work in this case. And that's fine. So next thing we've got to do is change those camera angles. So we're going to create a couple functions and I'll show you why. So this one's called change cinematic cam, and then we're going to put the camera name is going to be a string, and that's going to void GameManager change cinematic cam. So then we go for all cinematic cams is an array of camera 3Ds, and it equals get tree I'm not sure if this camera 3D is going to work because this sometimes all nodes in group, that's the one, get nodes in group, cinematic cameras. So we're going to make sure that that actually, cinematic cams, that's the one. So yeah, that's going to mess around just there. We'll just go array and that's going to be fine. So all cinematic cams for cam in all cinematic cams, if cam.name equals camera name, then we go cam dot, what do we go cam dot? We go cam dot set current. Although I don't like doing it like that. I like to do activate. Because then over on cinematic cam, we can create a function called activate. And what that's going to do is all of our like weird little lerpy effects and any other like cool stuff that we want in there. And we can make it wait a frame. So essentially process its position, stuff like that, wait a frame, and then actually switch over to it. But we don't need to do that right now, so we're just going to go set current and change that to true inside activate. It's basically the same thing, but we've already set it up, like I said, so we can stick some more code in there later. Cam activate. Now, that's just going to work like that. So I'm going to make another one. I'll call it Selfie Cam. Selfie Cam, and then we're going to go NPC name. If NPC name equals player, I guess. Yeah, player. Then we need to go, we need to get our player actually and make sure that player is in a group called player. Because then over here, we can go, if NPC name equals player, then we go var NPC. We're just going to leave it blank for now. Well, I'll make it a node 3D, so at least it doesn't get super confused. Then NPC equals the player. So we're essentially going to bootstrap off the back of this to get it to work, the selfie cam stuff work with the player too, because it's got the same function inside of it. And it's going to make sense in a second. So if NPC name equals player, NPC equals get tree, first node in group, player. And then we're going to go else. NPC equals get first NPCs. So we also need to add the NPC to a group. NPCs. Cool. So NPC dot name. Yep. NPC equals elif. Well, yeah, actually, we've got to set this up. So for all NPCs array, and we're going to do what we just did before for the cameras, but we're going to do it for the NPCs. So all nodes in group NPCs. For NPC and NPCs, we can't use NPC. So we do underscore for NPC and NPCs if NPC dot name, and we need to do this inside else. Yeah, there we go. So bam. If NPC name equals what is it? NPC name. Confusing, I know. Then we go dot NPC dot set selfie cam. Is that what it was? Or actually, we should just go NPC equals NPC. NPC for NPC is not declared in current scope because it's all NPCs. That's what it's called. Cool. So start from the top. If NPC name is player, then NPC is that. NPC equals cool. So then we go NPC dot set selfie cam. That's the one. Set selfie cam. So that's change selfie cam. We've got player. Yeah, we don't want it to be. too egregious. Cool. Now back in Dialogic, what we can do is, just to show you what I mean, we go GameManager. I really should have put this in like Cinematic Manager or something like that, but we've only got one at the moment and I like GameManager. So change Cinematic Cam is now here inside Dialogic. So what we can do is we change that Cinematic Cam and we're going to go Cine Cam 1. Then we're going to get, where's weight? Where is weight? There it is. So we're just going to wait 1 second. I'm going to flip to Cine Cam 2. Wait 1 second, and then the NPC is going to start talking. So we're going to, we don't want character, we want to set Selfie Cam. We're going to go, and hopefully this works, because NPC alter, is that what we call it? What this name refers to here is its name in the scene, its actual node name in the scene. So NPC alter, we've got player, although player I think is going to function a little bit different. It's just going to be all lowercase p. Cool, so bang bang, who are you? NPC alter, and then back to player, and hopefully this just works. Bam bam. So player, and back to the NPC, bang 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 bang. Back to the player. Yeah, that one. You're weird. And then we're gonna have no. Can I help? No. So that's back to the player. This is the NPC alter. Bam. So that's kind of cool. Just like that. And then we're going to copy this. We're going to put it here. Lots of things. This thing. Cinecam 3. And then Cinecam 4. Cool. We've got a pause in there for some reason. I'm not sure why. Now we're going to run that. We're going to see what happens. I have a feeling it's going to break, but only because I've just charged through that at top speed. Oh, there we go. Bang, bang. Oh, here we go. Set selfie cam in base nil. NPC name, change NPC. Why is it nil? What do you want about? It tried to go to the player just then. So if NPC name equals player, what if we just do that? Nah, you're tripping out. NPC alter. Oh, what? Oh, right. Oh, what? NPC. Whoop. Let's just print NPC. See what comes out. It's the selfie cam that's messing up. So we're going to run over there. I'm going to talk to this lady. We're going to get the 2 different camera angles. And we're going to get a output, NPC alter. Okay. Print NPC. NPC.name equals NPC name. Then NPC equals underscore NPC. Oh, what? Oh my god, I actually worked it out. I've actually spelled alter 2 different ways. And now I'm doubting myself if I even know how to spell alter. Spell it 2 different ways. So we replace this with the E. I was going to say, that makes no sense. What a stupid bug. So at least it's not the player, but we'll see. We will see. Bang. So we got 1 second, 1 second, and then boom. Whoa, who are you? Okay, yeah, there it is. It is the player as well. Yeah, so we're just going to set player cam. And then we've got to create that. So func set player cam is going to var player of type player equals get tree dot first node in group player. I think it was with a capital P. I can't remember. I always do this. No, it's not. Lowercase. Always go lowercase. It's so much easier. So player equals that, and then what we do is we just go if player player dot set default cam. So we need to set that up as well, and I just don't want to call current from here. I'd rather have a function in here that did it for us. So we just go camera 3D dot set current. We're going to set that to true. Set default cam, game manager. Where are we? We're on ready. Set player cam on the timeline ended. Yep. So now once we finish the hey, what's going on here? What's happened to me code? Okay, I don't think it's a code. I think it's just the animations changed, that default animation. I'm pretty sure that's what's happened. And now I can't remember which one it was. My God, so we're just going to push this camera forward a bit. Yeah, that'll do. Awesome. There we go. We're talking. Whoa, who are you? Are you okay? You're crazy. I'm not crazy. Everything. You're weird. Cool. And then it goes back to our regular camera, and then we can walk around. So that's the basics of it, but we're going to add animation as well. So we're going to use the, what do we call it? The script that we wrote earlier, and we're going to do it in exactly the same way that we did this. So instead of changing selfie cam, I'm going to go play animation, play anim, so we know it's ours. Play anim, boom, play animation. I'm pretty sure. Animation, yep. And we're going to go anim name, NPC name equals player, NPC name blah blah blah, NPC name. Oh, actually, we're going to need two. That's why this is so confusing. Okay. So NPC name, and we need anim name as well. Yep, that's why. So boom, anim name string, because we need to know the NPC and then we need to know the animation. So it's going to be exactly the same, getting the NPC, and then we just tell it to play that animation instead. So play anim is now going to be available in Dialogic. So who are you? We're going to go, are you okay? We're going to add in a call to the game manager to go play anim, player, and then we're going to pick out an animation to play. So we've got dance 1 through 9. We've got defeat. It's kind of funny. Yeah, that one's kind of funny. So we're going to do that one. Defeat 0. And that's on player. Now that one's going to be on NPC alter with an E. Yeah, with an E. Pretty sure that's not how you spell alter, but I could be wrong. Are you okay? You look crazy. Not crazy, I'm just scared. Lots of things. It'd be like a shrug. I think that's shrug. Or actually, there's one where he's like kind of yelling. Yell 0. What does that look like? No, that's not the one. Shrug 0. Then we got shrug 1. Yeah, shrug 1. Cool, and then one on the player while we're looking at it. So player, we could go nod 1 or something like that, I think. Go salute. Salute 0? I think that's what it was. Salute. You look crazy. We're actually going to put the salute at the end. You're weird, and then we salute him. Can I help? Alright, so this isn't going to handle what happens after the animation's played. That you would need to have some sort of system where after the animation plays, it goes back to idle. We can actually implement that as well. So boom, there we've got the animation playing. Fantastic. I think it's just going to loop. Oh, we've got a shrug. Yeah, that's going to loop as well. This thing, that thing, everything. You're weird. And here comes the salute. Can I help? No. And then she should do a no as well. Look, and then we're all saluting as well. So obviously you have to have a handler as well, where maybe on the NPC got a default animation, var default animation name, and then instead of actually typing that in, we're just going to go animation player dot current animation. Hopefully that works. Current animation, yeah, it's a string. Cool. So then on Dialogic timeline ended, we're going to change this to timeline ended. Whoop. We're going to move all this down to func timeline ended. And then we're going to say animation player dot play default animation name. Our func timeline ended, we void that. Cool, so timeline ended. And what happens when we end that timeline actually is this cinematic cooldown timer. Yeah, almost got rid of me. It play cooldown timer to start. Plays the default animation name. So we'll have to do the same for the player as well. So there's a lot of crossover for these two. So I think this aspect of it, the actual sort of animating person thing, I call it a guest. So you've got like your, well, it's more of a model, I suppose. I can't remember where I was going with that, but either way, when we do this, set default cam, we're also going to set animation name, or we're going to go animation player dot play, and then that default animation name. So hopefully this works. Hopefully we actually have a default animation name in there. So she should go back to doing that, and I should go back to doing what I was doing. So I'm just gonna bust through this as quickly as I can. Okay, and the saluting is still happening. Alright, interesting. Even though the default cam is set. So let's see over in remote what the default animation name is. There is none. Okay. Well, looks like we're gonna have to set him. So we're gonna export this, and we're gonna export that. We're actually going to set it now. So we get rid of that. I know why this is working. Honest. Actually, let's try one thing before I go a little bit overboard and just rewrite the whole bloody thing. Let's just wait one frame and we'll see what happens. Get tree, process frame. So this is on the player. We're going to see what happens here. I'm going to go back over to remote. Player, default animation name, no. So we're going to change it to an export. We're going to get rid of that there. And that. We're going to change. Yep, cool. So now it's just an export setting. So over on the main scene, we can choose our person, our NPC. We can change their default animation to what actually is the default animation. I'm just scared or something like that. Wasn't idle underscore nervous. Cool. So we'll go over here. Idle underscore nervous. Cool. And then on this, we actually need to make sure that the timeline ended is ending here. And over on player, with the timeline ended, We'll just make that function, screw it. Timeline ended. And we're going to move that one down to there. Default animation name. So default animation name, we'll just make it, I think it was just idle 0, but we'll see. What actually is it here? Idle 0 it is, cool. So back over in the main scene, make sure it's idle 0. Then we've got idle underscore nervous. And let's see what happens here. Hopefully something. Cool. So we watch our animation play out. Well, who are you? You okay? You look crazy. Switch to our cool camera angles, a little bit of pausing. Cool. And then everything's gone back to normal. Awesome. So that's how we do it with export variables. I'm sure you could figure out a way to just swap that out. This video is starting to get quite long now, so I'm trying to wrap it up as quickly as I can. I think that's basically it. I suppose one last thing about the Dialogic before I go is you can actually change those voices, so it's not just that typing effect. So I'm going to find some pain effects.
Ah, you bastard!
Maybe not that one.
Ow! Ah!
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 What folder is that in? Let's have a look. Maybe we can find effort.
Help! Help!
Yeah, there we go. We'll just use those two. And then we'll set that up as our voices. So if we go back over to Dialogic, we can go to character. We'll go to player. And typing sounds, we can actually swap out to... where is it? Okay, it's not there. So we go sounds. Oh, it's just in voices. Alright, so effort 10.
Help! Help! Help!
Yep. So we need to skip some.
Help!
So it's the amount of characters it'll skip.
Help!
And then we've got the
Help! Help! Help!
your classic
Help!
Banjo Kazooie.
Help! Help!
Here.
Help! Help!
And then over on the other one, we can add that into make it sound more like a chick. A chick going insane. Alright, so we'll have a look at that. Run over to the altar. What's going on, baby? Oh no, it didn't work. What's going on? Ah, that's right. I don't know why this doesn't work without it, but you need to hit that little star sign for both of them. And then we're going to give it another little go. And let's suss it out.
Help! 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 Help!
Yep. Well, that was pretty cool, actually. And that's how you do it. And I mean, you can imagine, there's a whole lot of other things you can do. Instead of those little Banjo-Kazooie sounds, you could also add your own audio in there. There's a slot for it in the timeline too. So if you were to add voice in, you can actually see as the next voice audio. So it'll set it all up for you for the actual dialogue, for when the dialogue comes up. So this has been the Dialogic tutorial. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like. Wishlist unaccessible if you can't afford it. Otherwise, it directly supports me. Otherwise, go to the Patreon. Subscribe to the Patreon. I'll put the files up for this, but unfortunately, like I said, this character, I haven't CC'd it yet. But I will in the future, just not just yet. But I'll have it up as a paid download, I think, just to make sure. But anyway, there's a lot of other free stuff up on the Patreon. Make sure to subscribe, check out my main channel, join the Discord, actually. And if you need any help with your Godot projects, feel free to hit me up. Basically got nothing better to do. I'll catch you guys next time.